Welcome everybody, and we have with us today Vedant Oak. Vedant is currently in Boston. He just graduated from Northeastern University, and I specially invited him because I thought his inputs would be much better than me telling you, what things you need to do once you reach the US, or while you're traveling and other things. Because Vedant has gone through this whole journey, so I thought Vedant will be a better person to share some his own insights and experiences on uh, all the things that you need to take care of while traveling, maybe after you reach US in the few initial days, and so on. Welcome, Vedant.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, and thank you for you. It's 1 a.m. at night in Boston, and I was a little concerned that it might be a little too late for Vedant, but Vedant is always enthusiastic to be here and share his experiences.
Sure, thank you, sir. And hi, everyone. My name is Vedant, and I recently graduated from Northeastern University in the field of data analytics. And currently, I'm going with my full-time interview process. So, I would like to say a big congratulations to each one of you. I know you're a talented group of people, and I know you must be all with full energy and everything coming to US for the first time, and you have all like dreams and everything with you. And it's good thing that you are so much filled with enthusiasm and the energy. But I would like to say one thing, that the main journey starts now once you land in US. Till now it was just like, I know it's been struggle, but then the main journey will start now. So feel free to ask any questions whatever you have, and I will share my own experiences, like whatever I faced in the last 2 years over here. And I hope to help you all, and hope to connect with you on LinkedIn as well. I'll put my LinkedIn below in the chat, so that if you have any questions after this session, you can ask me. Thank you.
Okay. Now, before we begin, if let me just admit all those who are waiting. Yeah. So before we begin, I mean, last week, no, sorry, not last week. I think 2 weeks back we had a session on forex and opening bank accounts and forex cards and a little bit of that. So anybody has questions regarding that? I mean, regarding the forex or forex cards or something. Let's start with that. So any questions regarding that? You just feel free to either type it in the chat box, or you just turn on your what do you say, microphones, and ask them right here. Any questions regarding to forex cards, by opening bank accounts? Okay. We'll not talk much in detail about forex and forex cards, but Vedant, about opening bank accounts, right? If you can just maybe quickly touch on that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
what are the options generally available once you reach US about opening your bank accounts? What things you need to be careful about, or what happens when you open a bank account? I don't know if you have used one of those virtual banking like Zolve and other virtual
Mm-hmm.
banking options. But if yes, then maybe you can share some insights on those as well.
Yeah, sure. So I think you all must be carrying a forex card with you all. So I would say don't carry too much amount of money in your forex, because as soon as you land in US, you're going to open your bank account within a day or maybe 2 days max. And just make sure over here there are a couple of 2 3 banks which are quite big, and every international students open their bank account in that. One is Bank of America, second is Chase, and the third is Santander. So these are the 3 banks where you can open your account, and they don't charge you anything. They are pretty much familiar or comfortable with the students. And just make sure that you keep few things in handy when you go to open your bank account. Keep your passport, your I-20, your admit letter, your recent I-94. Yeah, one more thing. Like whenever you land in US, you have to file in the I-94. Do that first. As soon as you reach US or you reach your apartment, just go to the I-94 website on the US official website, that is, and just put on your details so that they can generate your recent I-94. That is a very important document in United States. So do that. And yeah, you need to keep this 3 4 copies of this documents handy with you, and you're good to go to open your bank account over there. And there will be, obviously, if you open, like when I open my Bank of America account, they ask you like whether you want 2 kinds of accounts. So there are maybe one is savings and one is something called as a daily transaction account. So one savings is like you can keep your money, and whenever you pay with your phone or something, the money will not go from the savings, but it will go from your daily account. So make sure that you make two accounts. One is your daily account and one is your savings account. So that the daily account is basically called as checking account. So you can do that, and the second is savings account. So make sure you do that, and you're good to go. You The only charges what Bank of America will charge you if you transfer your money from, suppose you transfer your money from India to US, then they will charge you both. Like the Bank of America charges you around $15 per transaction. So I would suggest whenever you're transferring any money or when you're asking your parents to send you any money on your bank account, ask them in bulk. Don't ask them to send, like, in each half. Like, don't ask like 2000, 2000, 2000, because on every 2000 you're going to get a charge of $15. So better is like you can ask at a stretch, you can ask like 5000, 6000 amount, so that you have to pay the $15 transaction fee at once.
Okay. Any questions regarding that about bank accounts?
Yeah, I had a question.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I've heard this big banks actually have free maintenance charges for students below 25. But like I'll be turning 26. So, what are the options for me? Uh, is where the maintenance charges will be cheap.
So, just on that, right? Yes, what you said was absolutely correct. Most banks have a, I mean, it's a basically there is something called as a maintenance charge, and to avoid that, you have a minimum balance that you have to maintain in your checking account. Uh, with most banks, if you are under 25, then the minimum balance that you have to maintain is almost zero, or it's very negligible. Sometimes it can be $100 or something like that. Um, the in For people over 25, I think that amount in most banks is somewhere around $850. So basically what it means is that if you don't maintain a quarterly balance or a monthly balance, I don't know whether it's quarterly or monthly, of minimum $850 in your account, you will have to pay a maintenance charge on that account. It should be some $10, $25. I think generally in many banks it is $15 to $25 per month. So one way to avoid that is just make sure that you maintain that $850 minimum balance. Uh, so in that case, you can also check some of the online virtual banking options. Some of them may not have this charge, but most physical banks in the US have this charge I mean, not students, but anybody who is over 25.
Okay, got it.
There are some banks which don't charge you for, like, once you're like, if even if you are 25, they won't charge you any maintenance charges. So if you go in banks like Bank of America and Chase, then definitely they will charge you the, like, you have to keep the minimum some dollars in your bank. But if you go like in Boston, there is some bank called as Santander. So you have local banks over here in
What
US.
is that, Vedant? Like, we couldn't hear you clearly.
It's Santander, Santader.
Okay.
So that's a good bank, and it's very good. Like, they give a lot of benefits to students. So that is one thing. Like, over there is no maintenance charge, or you don't have to keep any specific amount in your bank, even if you're 25 and above.
Okay.
Okay.
I think Karthik here has a question. He says, do you need an apartment or residency proof while opening a bank account? So
Yeah, I would say take that and keep that in handy as well.
So generally, I mean, this has been my understanding from students I've spoken to. Many banks will not ask you for a residency proof as such. I mean, but when you open a bank account, you will have to provide an address where they can communicate with you, or rather send you your checkbooks, debit cards, kind of thing. So I don't know if they actually ask you proof of address. Most banks will not ask you for proof, but maybe you can check that, because even if you don't have a formal rental agreement, you can open a bank account. They will just ask you for an address in the US. Uh, so that is something that maybe I think Vedant, any insights on that?
Yeah. So whenever you open your bank account, it's not compulsory, not mandatory to keep an address proof, because sometimes over here in US, not everyone lives lives on lease. So sometimes you can live off lease as well. So it doesn't mean that if you are living off lease that you are not going to get your bank account open, something like that. But just make sure that you need to keep the address handy wherever you are, because they are going to send the debit card within like a week or maybe 10 days. So just make sure that you put that address into your bank account. And like suppose if you're not living on lease, what you can do is, if your friend is living on lease and if he's living on some other like nearby to your apartment, then you can put on his address. And because sometimes some management over here with the apartments are strict, if you're not on lease they won't give you your parcel or your couriers or hand it to you. So in that case, if your management with the apartment is very strict, I would suggest that put in your friend's address, and later on once you get that, you can change it on your mobile app as well. There's no issue of changing your address. So that's one point.
Yes, I think Sanjana Joshi has a question that
Yes, yes. Just I want to ask कि once the student they land in USA, first thing without college ID they can open bank account.
where are any tips on that?
Yeah. You can open. Just whenever
Means
you're going to open your bank account, they
uh,
only need three main documents. One is your passport. The second is your I-9 I-20, and the third is your I-94. So these three things are
okay,
very important. The I-20 is like a proof that you're in US, like you're
okay,
officially admitted to US.
okay. But what you suggest first means students should rush for the ID card or for bank account or day
Normally
one.
over here in universities you will get your IDs very easily. Like it's not a very uh, like very long process. You just have to go to
Okay,
your university, you just have to go to your library or somewhere, and they will just click your photos and the ID will be like within 2 minutes your ID will be ready. So that's like, it depends completely, it depends on you. If you want, you can make your ID
okay,
first and then go and open your bank account, or else you can just, because they don't ask for the IDs over here, ID,
ID.
they won't ask for
Okay.
IDs.
Hey, one more question. This daily account and saving account, both these account are in the same bank. Means
Yeah.
account numbers are different or what difference it is? I don't know.
So daily account, the difference between a savings and a checking account is, checking account is something, if you like, whenever it's for your daily transactions, whenever you're paying something in your grocery or maybe
Okay.
you're paying on a food
Mm-hmm.
joint, the money will be deducted from your checking account and it won't be deducted from your saving account. So suppose you have like $2,000 in your savings, and you in your savings, in your checking you have $200. So what you can do is, like, you have to transfer from savings to check-in, and you can do that by on your mobile as well. You don't have to go to
Okay.
bank to do that. So it's
Um,
it's very it's very handy over here in US. You don't have
okay.
to worry, like it's not like in back in
Okay.
India you have to
Yeah.
go step in bank.
okay, I mean, just to add to that,
Thank
right,
you.
see, a savings account technically is not required. In the sense, what happens is on checking accounts, banks don't pay any interest on the money that you keep in that account. So that is the, I would say, disadvantage
Okay.
of a checking account. That if you are doing any keeping whatever money you have, even if you have $10,000 or $2,000 or even $200, you will not get any interest on checking accounts. So checking accounts are zero interest accounts. So generally, what students do is that if they have a lot of money that their parents are transferring, then they open two accounts. One is a savings account where the money is actually whatever money you have is kept. Is kept in that account. You get interest on it. So very small percentage. I think how much is it now? 2-3%.
Yeah, it's 2%
Two
on
percent
savings.
interest. Yeah. So not a big amount of interest. So if you think you are going to have a lot of money and you want to earn a little interest on it, then you can open a savings account. But your checkbooks or maybe debit cards, or if you use any kind of mobile banking apps, or for paying transactions or something like that, you all the money gets deducted from your checking account and not the savings account. So savings account is more like you just keep money there. So make sure that there is. So if you're spending say $200 on something, the money will actually get debited from your checking account. So make sure your checking account has that kind of balance. You need not open a savings account again. If you think there is not going to be a lot of money and the interest is going to be really insignificant, then you can just have one checking account and that's all about it. But you can also do two accounts and make sure that if you have bulk of money, then that is kept in the savings so that you earn a little interest. And whenever required, you transfer it. You think, okay, this month I would be spending 500 or $600 on my groceries and all that. And so maybe before shopping, you can just transfer to your checking account or maintain that kind of balance in the checking. So small balance in the checking and keep measure of it in the savings. Again, that depends on you completely, but it's not really mandatory that you need to have two accounts. Checking is the only one that you need to have.
Thank you.
Do you need a social security number to open a bank account?
No, you don't need any social security number for your bank account, but definitely you need SSN when you want to apply for a credit card. But there is also there are few companies of credit card where you can get without your SSN, because getting an SSN is a tough job. You need to get an on campus for that. So I will like, over here in US, a credit history is very important. So I would suggest everyone to, as soon as you land in US, within like first 2-3 months, just apply for your credit card, because that credit score or that credit history is going to benefit you in long term. And there is a company called organization called as Deserve, which gives you a credit card which without any SSN. Like, they don't require SSN, or even they don't check your credit history. So Deserve is something very good if you don't have SSN initially. And once you get your SSN, you can apply for Discover credit card. A Discover credit card is very good credit card for students, especially because they don't charge you annually, or even they don't charge you on anything. But plus, you will get 1%, 2% cashback on all your transactions. So Discover is something good. And later on, like once you get your internship or something, you can open in Chase, or even you can get a credit card from Amex, which is a very good credit card.
Okay, thanks.
So moving on, what about the next thing that Vedant, I think you can talk about is getting your basically one, of course, communicating with your parents. You need a cell phone or a US number, or even in general, you need a US number to actually for all your day-to-day communication. So how do you? What would be the best options to get your US phone or a phone number kind of? And
Okay, so
before we go that, I mean, one question is that most students would be carrying their mobile phones from India. So will those phones work?
okay, so there is one website called as willmyphonework.net. You can just type that. I will type on the chat, and you can just go on that website, put on your details of your mobile, like suppose you have Samsung Galaxy S21 or something, whatever the mobile specifications you have, you can put on that, and you can just check on, you can put on the country, and you can just check over there. It will show you whether it will work in 5G, it will work in 4G, or it will work in 3G. So according to that, you can carry your cell phones over here. Normally over here, OnePlus and Samsung works very well in US. Apart from iPhones, I don't think Vivo or Oppo or those kind of phones are going to work in US, because they are not compatible with the network over here. And next thing, like regarding your numbers, what you can do is, like suppose you have a Geo number in India, or you have any Airtel or Vodafone number. The one option is that you can convert that number into international. There are a couple of options in Geo as well, so you can do that. Or else the second option is, I would say better is come to US. Connect with your seniors before you fly to US, and once you are in US, you can just ask your friends or your roommates or your seniors. They must be having a family plan in their in their network. So over here there are few like mobile carriers which are very good and have a good network all over the US. Like one is Verizon, then second is AT&T, and the third is T-Mobile. So any one of that, you can just ask your seniors. Like suppose they have a family plan in T-Mobile. So what you can do is you can join their family plan, and normally the bill for your, like each monthly bill for your mobile will be around between $20 to $30. So that's not going to get any issue with you. It will take a couple of time, and whenever you're going to get your number from T-Mobile or AT&T or Verizon, just make sure you carry your passport with you, because like someone else is going to add you in their family plan. So over there they need to show you your ID, and in US you need to carry your passport everywhere because that's your only ID over there. Your Indian license or any other Indian valid document is not going to work. So passport is the only valid documentation you have over there in US. So make sure you carry that everywhere you go.
Any questions on yes, Ojas?
Yeah, I had a question related to this. So, like, our Indian SIM card will still receive some OTPs and all. So, should we keep it here in India, or like, is there a way to keep it active while in the US?
Yeah, definitely you can do that. One thing what you can do is you can carry your Indian SIM card over there come while coming to US, and you can just put the minimum monthly charges what you have like 50 rupees or 100 rupees recharge back in India. You can do that, and you can keep that phone in handy. The second thing is normally you won't require anything to for your Indian number unless and until you have something associated with your Indian number, like you want to order something from like back in your country, if you want to order Mintra or something like that, because over here the Amazon from what you have in India is not going to work, because in India it's amazon.in and over here it's .com, so you need to make the new Amazon login ID in US. So everything is going to be you have to make when you land in US. So back in India, if you want any OTP or something, definitely it will come in US. You will get an OTP, but then you need to keep that phone like you need to keep that phone running. So you can do is you can just minimum charges recharge that phone with minimum charges monthly.
Right. So
Okay,
obviously,
got it.
for that you will need to first activate your international, I mean, international calling or international messaging on that number, on your Indian number. And then, I mean, see, either you see one option is you buy one of those international calling plans, but then they are generally very expensive. I mean, for a month they would charge you somewhere in anywhere. Most of this would charge you around 3 to 4 thousand rupees per month. But then that will also allow you to make calls to using your phone, using your Indian number. So that is one option. The other option is rather than going for one of these packs, you might have to just put in a monthly charge of say 100 rupees or something like that. So that we where you don't basically you keep the phone on only when or some for some time whenever you expect an OTP kind of thing. Although that OTP, that message might be charged at a much higher rate, maybe 10 rupees, 15 rupees per message or something like that. But my recommendation is that you keep that phone in India, or rather that SIM card in India and someone else's phone. If you really want to keep it active, maybe in one of your parents, they have a dual SIM phone or something, keep it there so that it still remains active, rather than you bringing it to the US and paying monthly charges, which are kind of going to be slightly higher to keep that international calling active on your phone.
Okay.
So even if you remove your SIM card and your WhatsApp will still work until you probably transfer your WhatsApp to your new number. So you can still, I mean, keep before going. You can just maybe, but if you don't need a SIM card, then maybe you just take it with you. I mean, if you think that SIM card is not really very important, just take it. But if you really want to keep that SIM active, then maybe you might want to maybe put it in someone else's phone. Yes, I think Karthik has a question here.
Yeah. I found out something that there is a company called as Mint Mobile, and they are offering something called as an eSIM. So does that work? Means I just get the eSIM right now from India itself, and then maybe change my SIM once I land over there.
What is the
You can do that. Definitely, you can do that. But I would suggest that the Mint does not have a good network in US. Like in some specific cities, you will be very good. The network is very good, but in few cities or in few parts of US, the network is not quite good. And they charge very minimal to students, like their monthly plan, like it's around $13 or $15 per month. But the only thing is you won't be getting unlimited internet or something like that once you have the Mint Mobile, because they have some limited net, like maybe 3 GB or 4 GB monthly. So that much they can give. And I wouldn't say take it from India and then go there and change to some other SIM, because then obviously you have two different numbers. And if you are comfortable with that, then it's fine. But if you want to give that number to someone else, and then it's a lot process, because you need to change the number and you need to give it to everyone again. So it's a little tedious process. I would say don't do that. Better is you can either, if you have a Geo, make it to an international for timing and then carry that, or else like sir said, like you can just put on your phone in your mom parents mobile device, and then just once you reach, you can do that over here in US, get a new SIM.
I think Vedant Karthik is asking if he can get a US number while he's in India. Isn't that what you're asking?
Okay, I guess so. Mint Mobile allows that because they have recently opened some new line for that. They have recently got into news for that. I'm not pretty sure with that because I haven't used Mint Mobile over here for 2 years. But definitely, if they are allowing that, you can do that. They will give you an eSIM, like you said, like which is right. They will maybe probably give you an eSIM, and that number will be maybe temporary number for you. Once you land in US, you can change that to permanent as well. I guess you can do that.
Um, Siddharth?
Yeah, hi. Actually, I had a question about. I found a site called TSIM where you can buy a US SIM in India. So I was thinking of buying it for the first month and then maybe changing once I go there, like buying minimal SIM card, US SIM card on TSIM. Is that something you'd recommend? And is there some alternative I could use? Because I think in the first few days I might require. I mean, calling might be hard for me, right? Like getting a new SIM in US.
Okay, so what I would say is don't focus much on the SIM card, because over here in US you can get Wi-Fi literally everywhere wherever you go. There is company called as Xfinity, which provides a Wi-Fi at your place or in your apartment. If you have Xfinity Wi-Fi in your place, you can literally connect, and with that credentials of your Xfinity, you can connect your Xfinity even when you are walking in the park, or you're even walking on the road. You can connect there, and you will get an internet over there as well. So making a call or something, it's not going to create any big issue for you over here in United States, because everywhere, like once you are in university, you're going to get a free Wi-Fi. Once you are at your apartments, you're going to get a free Wi-Fi. And if you are out of your apartment and not in your university, and if you have Xfinity, then surely you can connect it even on the road or wherever you are in the market or marketplace. So I wouldn't say ki do that, but if you want, you can go ahead with that. Only problem, if you don't carry any SIM, you guys must be facing the only problem where you will face the problem is Mumbai airport, because if you irrespective wherever you have your halt or you have your layover, maybe it's in Dubai, it's in Qatar, or maybe it's in Paris, or anywhere, you're going to get a free Wi-Fi. And as soon as you land in United States, also you're going to get a free Wi-Fi there, and the Wi-Fi speed is pretty good. But at Mumbai airport, if you don't have any SIM on your mobile, you're not able to connect to the internet. So that is something which can, while communicating with your parents, like if you have boarded or not boarded on the flight, that can create a little bit issue. But if you talk with the Mumbai Airport Authority, they have the counter set up over there on Mumbai Airport. They will help you with that to connect your internet. So that is also not going to create a big such issue for you while
Right.
traveling.
Right. So, Siddharth, what you're talking about is also there is a company called Matrix, which also does something similar, where you can buy a SIM card, which gives you a US number. Now, most of these have very slightly expensive plans, at least for the first few days. So, if these are generally good for people who are traveling on business and plan to return back maybe in the next 15 days or a month kind of thing. So, where they need
Right.
a US number, which will kind of help them connect with, do some calling in the US, and then maybe not a temporary number that you have temporary SIM, which would be active for a month and then you come back. So you can definitely buy one of those to keep you active. But like
Mhm.
Vedant said, there is Wi-Fi everywhere, almost free Wi-Fi. So calling your family back home on WhatsApp and all will be very much possible.
Right.
At Indian airports, there is free Wi-Fi, but the only thing is that they first send you an OTP on your phone, on your
Right.
Indian phone. You need to have an Indian phone where they ask you to put in that, and then they send you an OTP, and then
Right.
you need to enter that OTP to actually access your Wi-Fi. If you're
Right.
not having your Indian SIM card in your phone, you will not be able to receive that OTP. So maybe on your Indian airports, you will not be able to get free Wi-Fi. But like Vedant said, there are counters where you can go and request them saying that you don't have an OTP and they might enable Wi-Fi for you. But that is the only time if you don't have an Indian SIM on your phone, you will not be able to access internet. But on all international, most of the international airports, at least, even the ones on transit, you would have free Wi-Fi. So even once you reach the land in US airport, you can get free Wi-Fi.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Hemant Joshi, I think, has a question here.
Yeah, I just had one question regarding transit visa. So my son will be traveling through Heathrow Airport, 2 hours layover. Will he require a transit visa for the UK transit visa?
See, as far as my understanding is, the layover is just 2 hours at Heathrow, and it is on the same calendar day, right?
Yeah.
Then generally you will not require a transit visa. You can check on the government of UK website also. They have very specific instructions. So I think the transit visa requirements are if your layover is more than 12 hours or it spans across a calendar day. That is, say your flight reaches at say 12 at night. Uh, or maybe say 11 at night, and the next flight is like say 2 or 3 in the morning. So even though the transit time might be just 4 hours, but if it crosses one calendar day, then I think you need a transit visa. But if your flight is during daytime, or rather your next flight is on the same calendar day and the transit is less than 12 hours, at Heathrow you will not need a visa, I mean transit visa, if you have a US visa on your passport.
Okay, thank you.
I think Vedant has just typed the website on the comments, willmyphonework.net. That is the website to check if your current Indian phone model will work in the US or not. So you can check that and see. Yes, Karthik, you have another question?
Yeah, I had a similar doubt regarding. So my layover is in Istanbul. It's about 4 hours, 4.5 hours layover. So will I need a transit
No,
visa?
even Istanbul doesn't need a transit visa. Turkey. But you can check, there are websites, if you just Google out, will I need a transit visa, Intel, but I'm almost sure Istanbul, Turkey doesn't need any transit visas if you have a US passport visa.
Okay, thank you.
So generally, you see, you will need, now in case someone has booked a flight where if you're connecting flight from Istanbul directly to an airport in the US, you will not need a transit visa. Sorry. But if your flight is from Istanbul to another airport in Turkey or something like that, and then from there, you are actually traveling to the US, then you will need a transit visa. So same case if you are actually going to the UK and your flight, so you land in Heathrow, but from Heathrow you have a flight to say Manchester, and from Manchester you have a flight to the US, then in that case you might need a transit visa. But if it's just you are not going to leave the airport terminal in the country that you are landing, then you will not need a transit visa. Of course, there are time limits. If your flight, generally in most cases, I mean this is again country specific. If your transit is less than 12 hours, so that is you're not going to spend more than 12 hours, and again in some cases, like I said, it should be in the same calendar day, then you will not need transit visas. Yes, any further questions on phones or anything that you have so far? Any question? Okay. Couple of things. I mean, I wanted to just check with Vedant. Maybe Vedant, you can share some insights on uh, student jobs. Once you land there, I'm sure most of you would want to try for some assistantships, on-campus student jobs. What would you recommend, Vedanta? What would be the best way to go about these?
Okay, so once you land in United States, like once you land over here, I would say before you land, do one thing, like just keep couple of things in your mind, connect with your seniors in your college, like in your field or maybe irrespective of your field, just connect with your seniors. because the connection over here is very important. Like if you connect with your seniors and just you can just just message them randomly, hi, I'm coming for this and this course on this fall, I'm looking forward to meet you and all that. You have to be, because one thing is very straightforward in US. If you are not open over here, no one is going to help you. If you are bold and confident enough to speak in front of everyone and talk with everyone and make connections, you are going to get a lot of help. But if you are like shy and if you don't want to connect with people or you want to stay alone with yourself, no one is going to help you because everyone have their own life race going on over here. So before you come to United States, I would say connect with your seniors. It's a very important thing. Go on LinkedIn, search for your seniors on or any college people who are working there and just connect with them. They will help you a lot. Secondly, make your LinkedIn strong. It will help you a lot. Connect with your professors as well. Like most of you have already registered for the courses, I think, from your college. So what you can do is, suppose you are in a machine learning programming, so you can connect. The professor who is going to teach you for that. You can just type an email to him and ask for him if he has any assistantship or if he has any teaching assistant. If you have an experience, definitely he will going to consider you. But if you are a fresher, then you need maybe 1 or 2 semesters to get your something called as graduate teaching assistant or maybe a graduate research assistant. Because for teaching assistant or a research assistant in any university, you need an experience or you need to have a good grades in that subject. So for that, and regarding other on-campus jobs, definitely each university has, now I don't know, most of the universities over here in United States have started with a website called as handshake.com. So most of the universities uses this website to put on their daily openings on their on-campus openings on that website. Or the second website is Workday. So Workday is very important in US. You can create an account on Workday and you will be notified with if there are any openings or there are any openings in your university or across your university different departments, so you can apply over there. But getting an on campus is little difficult in US. Depends again on your college or your university. If your university are doing a mass hiring of Indians, then definitely you're getting not going to get easily on campus. But if your university is like you have a limited Indian students or maybe international students, then you can land your on campus within 1 month or 2 months. So it's a little long process, but definitely you need to connect with your seniors because they are the best source for you to help you on your on campuses, because they can refer you on their jobs. Like suppose someone is working with an library as an assistant librarian, so if you talk to him and if there is an opening, if he refers you, then definitely over here referral is plays a very important role. So definitely you have to connect with your seniors because that's the most important thing to help you land and on campus. And secondly, just make sure you have a good, if you want a teaching assistant or maybe something as assistantship, then have a good relationship with your professors. They will help you and they like it. Like when you send them any email or something like that, like, so, hi professor, I'm so and so, like I'm Karthik and I'm going to join this university and I'm very happy to learn this subject from you. So if you send this email, obviously it's not, as an Indian we don't do that, but over here you have to do that because people find it very good, like they take it personally and they find it very good. So if you do that, then obviously the professor is going to know about you and he will keep you in mind for any opening under his assistantship or something like that. So make sure you do that.
Okay, great. Any questions on related to student jobs or something that you should be, in terms of employment that you need to take care of once you reach the US? Okay, on that note, right, now, again, there are sometimes students have asked me in the past and about working off campus while you are studying. Right? You are not allowed to work off campus while you're studying. It is illegal. At least for the first 9 months, you are not supposed to work off campus. The only time you can do an off campus job is as an internship, and that too a formal internship during your summer, for which the university would issue you a CPT. But there are some students, or it has been, I mean, there have been some students who have actually who do work for what you known as work for cash. right? Not, I would not recommend doing such kind of jobs for small amounts of cash. If you do off-campus jobs illegally, you are unnecessarily putting yourself at big risk in case you get caught. You could face deportation. So my recommendation is don't try to get lured by these kind of off-campus jobs, saying that okay, someone is doing, or I know someone who was willing to offer me a job that they would pay me on cash. Um, Preferably avoid such kind of jobs. They are illegal, and again, the risk that you are going to take by falling into, I mean, such traps or doing such kind of job is, I think, a little too much for you to take for the small amount of money that you will be earning. So that is again something that I would very strongly recommend, that don't do off-campus jobs or don't do illegal jobs, at least while you're a student. Any other? Another thing, I mean, talking about rules and regulations. One thing that I have sometimes I've seen that um, while you're traveling outside the country, especially on your, maybe during your Christmas break or maybe summer break or whatever, whenever, maybe it's a family emergency or whatever it is, you are very much allowed to come back to India or visit any country for that matter, as long as you have a visa for that country. But every time you have to enter the US, you will need an updated I-20 from the university. So if you are tra- I mean, traveling, or if you have plans of traveling or visiting back home or going anywhere outside the country, make sure you get your I-20s updated from the International Students Office of your university. Inform them so that there is no problem created for you while you try to re-enter the country. This is something that you should remember. Of course, during your orientation, your International Students Office will tell you this. But I have often seen sometimes students just come back in that excitement. They just come back to India, and then they realize that they don't have an updated I-20, and then generally what happens is during Christmas breaks and all that, the universities are also closed. So don't make this mistake of coming back to India or on a or going anywhere outside the country on a vacation without informing the university and getting your I-20s updated. So this is something that you should remember. Yes, Karthik, again, I think you have a question.
Yeah, so speaking about on-campus jobs, and Vedant actually initially mentioned something that is the I-90 tax form, right? So how do we go about it, and what is the procedure? Because I think I'm pretty means uh,
Okay, so
unknown
sorry,
about.
I-94 is not a tax form. I-94 is more like earlier they used to do, what used to happen is every time you enter the US, they used to give you a small card. I mean, it used to be a paper card wherein you have to fill in the details of your name, address, not in address, sorry, name, your passport number, kind of thing. And then on that card, the visa officer used to write or stamp the amount of time that you could stay in the US. And this is for all non-immigrant visas. Even if you go as a tourist visa, they would actually put that on your I-94 card, the duration of your stay. So in case of students, what they used to do is they used to write DS on it, which means duration of studies, which means that you are allowed to stay in the US as long as you are a student. That is what it meant. Now they have shifted that whole I-94 process to an online system. Isn't correct, Vedant?
Yeah, so I-94 is completely online now. You just have to fill in the details when you come into United States initially, and then it gets automatically updated once you every time you land into United States, and once you come back or you go forth and come, then it automatically gets updated every time. But just make sure that on the official website your entry date and the leaving date is updated, because that's what they check later on.
Right. So the I-94 is basically just a record of when you entered the country and when you left the country. It just maintains, that website just maintains. So the first time when you come, you have to make sure you create an account, a record there. Your international students office will tell you this. It is actually not a, it's not a tax form or any kind of income I mean, tax forms and all will come much later, and I don't think you need to be worried about tax forms at least in the first year as of now. But again, your university will tell you those also about those. But so I-94 is just a record of your entries and exits from the US.
So should I be filling my I-94 before landing in the US, or
No, not really. Ideally, you're supposed to fill it after you land in the US, and it's not that you have to fill it on the very same day. So you don't worry about it so much. I think whenever you land in the US and you have enough time, you can visit the website and update your record there. So which will basically just say when you entered the US, kind of thing.
Yes, sir. I have a question about carrying personal medicines. So should we carry our personal medicines with doctor's prescription in check-in baggage or carry or cabin baggage?
See, it doesn't matter where you carry it. I would
Okay.
say put it in your check-in baggage because if those are liquids or any kind of tablets, sometimes in the cabin baggage, sometimes they may not allow it. It is, and this is the airlines not allowing it, right? So it's not happened that you are caught at the Mumbai airport only or in your Indian airport only carrying luggage, medicines in your bag because then they scan it. In your check-in baggage, whatever you check in, you can check in. Nobody is going to object to that. Unless they are really very large quantity of medicines or something like that, generally nobody will object in the US. Even if
Okay.
you have a maybe with the doctor, in case there's someone checks. So this will be checked during your customs. So once you land in the US, the first thing you will have to clear is the immigration, where you will go and where the immigration officer will basically check your passport and I-20 and then let you inside the country. Then you have to pick up your bags at that airport, whichever airport you land first in the US, and then pass through customs. Okay, at the customs, they will not inspect all bags generally, but in case they do, some airports have sniffer dogs or that they inspect. If the dog feels something is suspicious in your bag, they will just come and sit next to your bag, or and then the customs officer will ask you to open your bags. Sometimes at random they will ask you to open your bags for checking. That depends on the customs officer and what they feel is inside your bag while they scan it or how it is. Right? But in case there are medicines or any other objects that if the customs officer feel is objectionable, as long as you can justify what it is and if you have a prescription saying for what medication, generally they will allow it. In the worst
Okay.
case, they will not allow it, and then they will ask you to take it, and there will be a bin there, big basket kind of a drum kind of thing. They'll ask you to dispose it off. That is what they do. The same applies with, of course, other some spices or whatever you need to carry. It's the same rule. Most, unless they are really something that in very huge quantities or some stuff like that contains, like I said, raw meat, uh, live plants. Generally, they will not allow those. But otherwise, most of the things in smaller quantities are okay. Now there is some restriction on carrying rice because India has banned export of rice. So I would say avoid carrying rice. Um, but other than that, I think all sometimes again things that are white powderish in color, right? Flour like maida and all that you carry. So generally, because it kind of most of the drugs are white in color, the customs officers are very suspicious about white powders. So avoid carrying salt, sugar, and any other white powder is what I would say. You get salt, sugar very easily in the US and very cheap also. I don't think those are expensive items that you really need to worry about. So avoid those kind of things. But any other Indian spices and all to a reasonable amount that will last you maybe for a month or so are okay. Don't carry full suitcases of spices and all that. That's not really recommended also. But otherwise, small items are okay.
Yes,
Any
sir. I
other?
have one more.
Yes, sorry, Neeraj. Tell me.
Yes, yes, sir. So I have one more question. This about travel insurance. So my official university's health insurance will start on 17th of August. So I have purchased the travel insurance for initial 16 days. My flight is on like tomorrow. So while buying the health insurance, they ask you for your return date also. Is that fine? So because I have put the return date is 16th of August.
that is fine. So basically, the return date. See, basically, since you are asking for it is not exactly a return date. They are asking you when do you want your insurance to end. That is your insurance end date.
Correct.
So anything happens. So if you need to use your insurance till your end date, that is okay. Beyond that, they will not pay for it.
Sure, sir. Thank you, Jessel. Got it.
That's it. Any questions on so far?
And do we have any restrictions for dals and beans? Uh,
Vedant, anything? Any restrictions on carrying dals or beans?
No. Basically, you don't have any restriction. Like Sir said, don't carry white powderish things because over here they feel like you're carrying some kind of a drugs or something like that. And then they will suspect and then they will ask. First of all, I will say don't ever get scared by the custom officers or even by the police officers, because I know it's a mentality that whenever they come to talk to you at first, you will get little scared because what they are saying and everything, but don't get scared. Just answer them very confidently whatever you have. If they ask you what is this, what is that, because with me this thing happened with me. They asked what is the jira, and like it was very difficult process to tell them like what exactly this that jira works for, and it was very big process for me to tell them. So don't worry with that. They are not going to restrict anything, and it's like Sir said, not every bag is going to be checked by custom officers. If they feel like it completely depends on their mood actually. If they feel like they need to check your bag, then they will check. Or if they have a dog or something kind of and he feels it's suspicious, then they will check. Otherwise, you are very clear to go out of the airport directly after you carry your bag. You get your bag from the belt. So it's not, and there are no restrictions, anything like dal or anything. You can just carry for a month, and most of the things you will get in US, like US, you will get easily. Over here there are a lot of Indians, trust me. You won't even feel like if you're landing in New York or something like that, you won't even feel like you're in US. You will feel like you're in Mumbai or something like that. So don't have to worry with that. You will get all the Indian stuff over here as well, starting from your dal, your rice, your even wheat flour or maida or besan. Everything you will get over here.
Yes, so I think Divya, what you have said is very much correct. If you're carrying, so generally most of the salt that is available in India is in packets, so you can really see the white stuff inside. But if you are carrying it in say maybe it comes in a packet which is like a small container kind of thing, where the white stuff is not very obviously, and it says catch, maybe that is the brand name, and it says salt on the packet, and it's a sealed pack. I think it is not a problem. So again, as I said, carrying white powders is not a problem. It's not that you are not supposed to carry white powder, but mostly they try to are very suspicious about white powder. It is not that salt and sugar is not allowed to you're not allowed to carry it inside the country. But if you carry a packet which just has a lot of white powder in it, they become suspicious, ask you to open it, and it becomes a little messy at that point. Because if you are to carry maybe say one of the Tata salt ka bada packet kind of thing, and they ask you to open it and they want to check whether that is really salt or not, it might become a little messy, and then at one point you might just have to throw it away. Right? You may not want to for that 15-20 rupee salt ka packet. You may not want to get into too much argument saying that this is salt, and even if an open packet of salt is again difficult to pack and carry. So I would just say carry small quantities are absolutely fine, but not really. Don't carry too much of white powders.
So, one question I had is there any specific way that we are supposed to carry whatever masalas or whatever we are planning to carry? Means, should they be completely packaged, or should we carry them in Ziplocs, anything like that?
No, nothing as such. But just make sure that you carry in a way that it does not spill or tear open in the transit. Airlines don't handle your baggages with a lot of love and affection. Right? So they'll just be throwing away, putting it on the conveyor belt, packing it. So make sure that you don't have things such a way that that will break inside, or the packets will tear. Make sure they have an extra packing, just so that if it spills, it should not spoil your clothes or other things that are there in the bag. That's the only. But again, there is no specific way of packing that is recommended or anything.
Beside besides the means masala and everything, could you maybe walk us through the entire process of landing in the US, immigration, and then getting out?
Cool. Yeah. So Vedant, can you talk about that, or shall I?
Yeah, so once you land, like suppose you have a flight, like you're going at Atlanta, but you have a connecting flight. Like the first point, the entry point in your US is New York. So all your immigration and everything is going to take place in New York. It's not going to like take place in Atlanta or wherever your place is, because normally some colleges are like if you say some are in Indianapolis or some are in Kentucky or Oklahoma, where there are not no big international airports. So the first entry point wherever you're in US, that is the place where you're going to get your immigration done. And in immigration, don't worry, I know most of the people get scared because the way they ask the questions, their tone and everything, but they will ask you some basic questions in immigration, like what is your purpose, which university are you carrying, how much cash you are carrying, or do you have any illegal stuff, or like just the basic stuff they are going to ask you. Don't worry, like they're not going to judge you or they're not going to scare you or in any way. Just answer them properly, like the way you talk with your friend or your parents or any professor. Just talk with them like that, and they are very lenient with that process. Once you're done with your immigration, the next thing what you're going to get is you're going to get on your baggage. You're going to collect your baggage. So a baggage normally takes little time, depending on how rush at the airport that time at that moment is. And after okay, one more thing, the worst thing in the US is you will be charged for the trolley. In India, you are not charged for any trolley to get the bag or something like that, even at any airport in India. But in US, you're going to get charged for the trolley, and that is $6. So make sure that you keep some cash in hand with you when you travel to United States, because you definitely, all of you will need a trolley, because you will have 3 to 4 bag, like 3 of your check-ins and one of your cabin bag. So you will definitely need a trolley, and for that you will need $6 cash in hand. So I would say just carry 10 dollars, maybe $50 of 10 each with you, because it will come handy at the airport. And once you're done with your baggage, then you have the customs. So it's not everyone is going to get clear, go and check in the customs. You can directly go, like just walk past the customs. But if they ask you, then they will definitely ask you to open your bag, everything. And it's a very it's not something ideal you want to be in the customs, because they will literally ask you to open the whole bag and they will check everything whatever you have. And it's a little tedious process to do at the airport, opening all your stuffs and everything and all. So it completely depends. And normally what I have seen, like I have traveled like 2-3 times to Boston now, and what I have seen is, if you are scared, definitely the custom officers is going to catch you. If you are scared, if you are like, if you act like you are new to United States and you don't know anything about this airport and everything, they're definitely going to catch you, and then they are going to ask you to come to customs. But if you go with confidence and just walk past them, just look here and there, and just like it's your own country, and just walk past the customs, they're not going to ask you. That's the one thing, that's very honestly I'm telling you, this is going to happen. Because normally they catch the international student, they won't catch any other international passenger, because they know they are good to go. So that's the one thing. Don't look at custom officers like when you're walking past the custom. They will catch you. Otherwise, once you're out of the airport, you can do a cab. Normally, you won't be you if you want. You can already download an app once you are at the airport. The app is called as Lyft, Lyft. So it's similar to what we have Ola or Uber over here. Obviously, Uber will work in United, like over here in US as well. But Lyft is also something which can come in handy when you want to travel from your airport to your apartment. Otherwise, the third option is you can directly get a cab from airport, and they will charge you, I guess, around $25-$30 on your way back to home. And yeah, that's it. It's not a very big process, like it's not a very big thing or something like that. But it will definitely take an hour or maybe hour 30 minutes, something like that, to get out of the airport, depending on the rush.
Right. And one more thing that I would like to add here is that most of you, in fact, may not have your port of entry, that is the first airport that you land in the US, as your final destination. So in that case, after you clear your customs, I mean, take your bags and then find the airline counter, airlines which is of where your connecting flight is. Say, for example, you land in New York and then you have a flight to, say, Dallas or Atlanta or wherever it is. Then you find, and your flight is through American Airlines or whichever airlines it is, the last leg of your flight. You find that airline and then you again go and give your bags to them. That is what will happen at your port of entry. That is in case that is not your final destination. If that is your final destination, then you just walk out of that. Now, again, generally, most sometimes students wonder how much time does it take to go through this all. I mean, from the time your flight lands at the port of entry till you clear your immigration, customs, and all that. On an average, 2 hours, I think, is sufficient time in most cases. So, if your connecting flight is more than 2 hours beyond that, I think you're good. If your flight is if your flight is generally you have a 3 to 4 hour layover time at your port of entry in the US, I think you are sufficiently good enough time. You have sufficient time to manage things. If it's less, sometimes there is a risk that you might miss your flight. In case you miss your flight, you will have to then request your airline to put you on the next flight. And most likely, unless it's a very peak time or if the flight is overbooked, they generally will consider your request. So, but if you have less than 4 hours at that airport, I would say rush, do things fast. I mean, try to go get out, collect your bag soon, assuming that they come. But sometimes there are delays. There are some delays that you can't avoid. But wherever possible, just try to find your connecting terminal very soon.
Also, there might be chance that you might be landing at terminal E and your connecting flight might be at terminal B. So in that case, you definitely need more than 2 hours for your layover because getting a baggage and clearing immigration and everything, it takes time. And I wouldn't suggest to get a connecting flight which is less than 2 hours or maybe 1 hour layover at that airport because changing the terminal is also, it takes a lot of time. Like maybe it will the term if you want to change a terminal, you need to get a bus or maybe a metro or something like that just to get from one terminal to other terminal, because normally most of the airlines won't be at the same airport because you will be landing on an international terminal and then you will have a domestic flight. So there will be a definitely there is going to be a change in terminal whenever you catch a flight.
Okay. Another question that sometimes students ask is how much cash can you carry? So it is always good to carry some cash because the limit to carry cash is $10,000. Very strongly recommend that you don't carry cash more than $10,000. And when I say cash, I mean actual cash, currency notes. Right? This does not include the money that you load on the card or the money that you're doing for forex transfers, bank transfers, and all that. Currency notes, if you are carrying, maybe around $500 to the max is more than sufficient. That is also slightly on the higher side because if you are carrying a forex card, then you may not need so much cash. But maximum $500 is what I would suggest that you can carry. Again, carry them in smaller denominations. At least some, maybe you can carry 4 notes of $100 each, but at least the remaining $100 you carry in $10 or $20 denominations, or even smaller. If you can get $5, $1 kind of bills, then those are also great.
For the trolleys at the airports, does Forex card work for that as well?
It should work in most cases. If Visa or Mastercard should work. Vedant, any thoughts on that?
No, normally cards work over there, but sometimes it happens that you don't have any other card. Like suppose you have any forex card, and if in case it doesn't work, then you have no one to send it to because you don't have any credit card or debit card from US. So it's better to carry a cash in hand because that can come in handy at times.
Yeah, but yes, cards generally work. I mean, at least now most of these airports have card readers on their trolley machine, so should not be a problem. But carry some cash. Cash is always good. Even if it's a small $100 total, that's also okay. But carry that. Yes, I think Sanjana Joshi has a question.
Yeah, can we carry this packed item in cabin bag? Packed
What?
sealed items in cabin bag, eatables?
Ideally, yes, you can carry eatable items as long as they are not liquid, because there are some restrictions on carrying liquids in cabin bags. But if they are like biscuits, cookies, chocolates and all. Even
Yeah.
if you want to eat it inside the flight, you can carry food in cabin bags. You are allowed to eat your own food in your airline cabin, as long as there is no liquids in it. Like you want to carry a
Okay.
box of sandwiches or something, you can do that.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions so far on any final things that you would like to add, Vedant? So I think if there are no other questions, yes, Neeraj, one question.
Yeah. Just how does the process look like when we go to a Indian airport first?
When you go through a
When you go to Indian airports, for example, me, I'll go to Mumbai International Airport, right? So how would the process be there? Like first you go to the counter, right? Your airline counter.
Yes,
Then
so
you go
first you
to
go to
the
the airline counter. You give your, they will check your luggage whether it is within the weight limits or whatever it is, and then they will give you a boarding pass. After you clear the boarding pass, you will have to, there will be an immigration counter which you will have to pass through. So there will be a small form that these Indian that you will have to that those will be available at the immigration counter. You will have to fill that form. That will basically clear say that they'll ask you what is the purpose of your trip and where are you going and all that. They'll ask you your passport number on that small form. So one thing I would very highly recommend is carry a pen with you at least because sometimes you have to fill this form and if you don't have a pen, a simple soda pen, that might become a problem. So just make sure that fill this form. Then an immigration, you will have to pass an immigration counter at the Indian airport, whichever airport, international airport you are at. Uh, as a student, they generally will not ask you much. They might just ask you, the Indian officer will ask you, where are you going, which country, and they'll just check whether you have a visa on your passport or not. And as long as your visa date is valid, I don't know whether they would even check your I-20 or not. Sometimes they might, but sometimes mostly they won't. And then let you go through that. You pass that immigration counter. The next thing I think you will have to go through is security, where they'll check your handbags. They will again check you. I mean, you'll have to pass through the scanner, and then wait for your flight terminal. At whichever terminal your gate your flight is, you'll have to go and wait. Anything I'm missing, Vedant? Here?
No, I guess you're good to go. Just keep your some documents in handy, like your passport and your I-20, because obviously those are the things which they might ask you at the airport or even at the check-in counter. They might ask you, and even at the immigration. But otherwise, once you get your boarding pass, you're good to go with the security and then with the immigration. And once you're done with the immigration, you feel free to just walk around the airport and go near to your terminal wherever the gate is for your flight. And even on the flight boarding, they won't ask you your I-20. They will just check with your boarding pass and the passport.
Yeah, so that is what the process is at the Indian airport. Say you're landing at Heathrow or say Istanbul or wherever you're landing, there you will have to do nothing. You just get out of the flight, make sure on your. So basically, they will give you a boarding pass till the end, till your final destination at the Mumbai airport or whichever airport you're checking in at India. They will give you a boarding pass to your final destination. Right. So make sure that you. So once you land at the Heathrow or something, it will be mentioned on your boarding pass which terminal your flight is from, which gate. And sometimes it is, sometimes it is not. If the gate has not yet been assigned, it will not be mentioned. But make sure that when you land at Heathrow or Istanbul or whichever airport, say Dubai airport or something, you check where again with there will be a lot of monitors there. You see which terminal and which gate your next connecting flight is, and make sure you walk and go and wait at that terminal. If you have a lot of time at your international airport, you can roam around on the airport. Um, don't go out of the airport. Make sure, remember that you are within the inside the airport terminal only. Don't go out because if you go out, of course, while going out, somebody will stop you, and you will only be allowed to re-enter the airport if you have a transit visa or a visa. So generally, that is the. but mostly they will not let you go out of the airport because you don't have a transit visa itself. So don't worry about that. You don't generally will not come to a point where suddenly you realize you are outside the airport. It's not so easy to get out of the airports by accident. So because then if you're getting out of the airport, you will have to pass through the immigration at that airport, and generally they if you come to that point, they will stop you and send you back inside there. So don't worry about too much about the transit airport. All you need to go is just find your gate and wait there. There will be shops around. You can maybe look around. If you're hungry, you can eat. Food is expensive, but mostly it will be available. And then you just take your next flight to the final desk for your US flight. That is all you'll have to do. So it's not a very complicated process. It's a very straightforward process. As long as you can read and write instructions written in English, I think everything is fine. So don't worry too much about it. You will not get lost anywhere. And there is nothing that you can do wrong also. It's just very straightforward process. Okay, one more thing I wanted to tell you that sometimes, and in very rare cases, sometimes they ask you at the Indian airport, how much cash are you carrying? How many dollars are you carrying? They sometimes can ask you for the receipt of purchase of the dollars. For students, mostly they don't, but they have the right to do that. So if you are buying dollars, maybe in cash, and they generally will ask you only for the cash dollars. Whatever money is loaded on the card or you're doing bank transfer, the customs people are not bothered. But if you say that I'm carrying $500 in cash, they can ask you where did you purchase it from, and if you have a receipt for that, any foreign exchange counter that you purchase cash from, I mean in India, maybe say you like I sent you details about that EBIX cash or anywhere you go, maybe any money or wherever you buy it from your bank, they will generally give you a receipt. Keep that receipt handy for the cash is what I would say. Generally, don't try to exchange dollar Indian rupees to dollars at the airport. The rates at airports for exchange are very expensive. I mean, you will spend easily $2 more, ₹2 more on the thing. So if your plan is that okay, I'll carry some 10,000 rupees with me and I'll exchange it and convert it to dollars at the airport itself, you can do that. There are foreign exchange counters at the airport itself where you can buy dollars, but the rates that they offer are generally very expensive. So if a dollar is say an 80 rupees, you will get it at 82 or 83 rupees at there. Okay, make sure you exchange your currency much before while you are before you fly, not at the airport. I mean, you can, but it's expensive. That's the only. Any other questions?
Hi, sir.
Yeah,
Uh, uh, if at any point in our travel we get stuck, say right here at Mumbai airport, maybe at customs in the US or during transit, at any point, if we get stuck, whom should we be contacting?
nobody. I mean, it depends on what you get stuck with, right? See, generally, the only time as a student you will not get stuck because your passport, I-20 are all in order. The only time you might get stuck is if you are carrying something illegal, right? And then there is nobody. Then maybe if you are carrying drugs or something, honestly, in your bags, then you have a problem. Otherwise, I don't see there is any problem in carrying food items anywhere. So, but maybe I mean you can call your parents, or if you know some contact. Depends on which airport you're stuck. So if you're stuck at the Indian airport for some reason, maybe your parents can be the point of contact. If you're stuck at the US airport, then maybe someone in the US, maybe your roommates or a family or relative can be a point of contact. All that. Okay. Now, having said that, sometimes what happens is it's not about you getting stuck or something. In some case, your phone might get damaged or might stop working. You never know about gadgets. You can't. So in that case, it is always handy that you write some important numbers of your family members or friends who you plan to call in the US on some piece of paper with you, so that in case you miss, I mean, your phone stops working for whatever reason, right? you are not absolutely clueless on whom to call or where to go after you land there, just because all the important contacts were on your phone. So at least if you have to go outside and hire a cab, you should know the address where you have to go. So write that down on a piece of paper so that at least you can tell the cab driver, this is the address I want to go to. Or if you need help or you need to go take a bus or something, you need to know where you need the address of your destination. Because if everything is on your phone, and in case due to bad luck your phone stops working or for whatever reason it may gets damaged or whatever happens to your phone, it's not that you are stuck with no information or nothing, no data at all. So make sure you write some important details on a piece of paper and keep it. That's something that I would recommend. Any other questions, or we'll end today's session? Vedant has shared his contact details or his LinkedIn account details on the chat here in the messages box. So you can maybe, in case you have any other questions, you can feel free to reach out to him, or you can, of course, call me, message me about it. And all the best for your journey and your studies. And do stay in touch. And thank you, Vedant, once again for joining. I know it's a little late, almost.
No, it's completely fine, sir. It's completely fine with me. And thank you for this opportunity. And I would like to say that don't worry at all. You have done a tremendous hard work to get a admit in US, and I will just say that the journey begins now. The You will definitely understand because you will have the whole plate empty over here in US once you land, and you need to arrange everything on your own. So if sir keeps any other session, then we will definitely talk on that as well. But just make sure that you're not going to get anything spoon feeding in US. You need to speak up, and whatever problem you have, you need to talk with your seniors or with your professors or anyone, even back in India with your parents, so that there will be a solution. There is no problem that in this world that does not have any solution to it. So no matter how big is the problem or how worse is the problem, even in US, there will be a solution for that. And so don't feel, because there will be a times where you might feel lonely and all. So don't do that. Just remember that you have done a lot of hard work behind this, and I know sure you all will be landing a dream job over here in US within a couple of years. So all the best to all of you. And if you have any questions, then feel free to ask to me on LinkedIn. You can message me, and then I will reach back to you as soon as possible. So thank you so much.
And on that note, I would just like to say that sometimes students, so many students feel that what we call typically known as the imposter syndrome, where you feel that okay, everybody in your class is very smart and you are not, whereas that is not the case. Everybody is equally struggling as you are. It's just a matter that if you just speak up, if you have problems with your academics, or maybe just finding apartments, or just with groceries or any small thing, day to day activity. Most of you may not be used to like even working on bank accounts. You may not have, some of you may not even have bank accounts so far, or those very small things, right? So just speak up, ask. Everybody will be happy to help. But unless you tell about your problems, nobody will know about it, right? So even if they're small things like what groceries to buy, or what kind of toilet paper to buy, as simple as that. You will need to do that, and if you're not able to figure out something at the grocery store, also maybe just feel free to ask. Everybody goes through the same struggle. Nobody is super smart, and all of you are almost in the same, will be at the same place, or in the same, what I say, in the same boat. And so don't feel shy in asking for help. Don't feel that everybody is smart. I am the only one who doesn't know anything. Don't fall victim to that problem. And try to be an extrovert. Not It's not going to be easy for many people, but at least you don't. That doesn't mean you have to go to every party. But at least when you need help, definitely ask and try to be nice to everybody. Because if you are struggling, the next person is also struggling equally well. So if you need help, you also, whenever you can, try to help others. So be kind, and I think life will be easy for you.
Definitely, and always remember one thing: whenever you are in US, that you are the smartest person in US as compared to the citizens over here. So don't ever think that you are not smart enough. You are way more smart than the people living over here. They might like, you will have that feeling like they are doing such a good in their life, they are good in sports and everything, but just remember that when it comes to any technical work or any smartness, you are the go-to person for even the US companies, because that's the reason why they hire Indians in their companies. So don't ever think that they are the smart people and I'm someone new in this country. So don't do that. You are smart enough to land your dream job in United States, and that's the main motive. You're coming here for getting a dream job. So work on that, and LinkedIn is the best tool. Like, use LinkedIn as you're using Instagram. I would just say that. Just use your LinkedIn like you're using your Instagram. Just try to make connections and don't be shy to send any request or any connection request to anyone, even if you don't know that person. Just send it to them on the LinkedIn, and you can always be. Everyone over here is welcoming, so they will. If you send a good message to them on LinkedIn, they will definitely reply back to you. Even if you want to send a message to any director or maybe vice president of any company which you want to pursue your career in, you can directly send them on LinkedIn, and they will definitely reach back to you. They will not ignore you. So don't worry with that thing.
Okay, thank you, Vedant, and thank you all for joining. And all the
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Vedant. Thanks, Jay sir.
bye.